Thank you for joining us at 60 Northbound. My name is June. Together with my sister, we've put together some videos that we think you will enjoy. Today's video is about ageism, and as many of you may have suspected, we have chosen this topic mainly because of the appointment of our Governor General, Louise Arbour. Before I go down that road, which I will, I do want to talk a bit about ageism and what it does in our society and so on and so forth. Ageism is defined as a stereotype, prejudice, and discrimination towards others based on age. No different than racism is based on race. Sexism is based on gender. Ageism is simply based on age. In Canada, age discrimination is illegal. You can report cases of age discrimination to the Federal Human Rights Commission or provincially to the Provincial Human Rights Tribunal in your area. I'm sure a quick little Google search will help you find which is the best area for you to send your concern. As well, sad to say that ageism is more sociably acceptable than racism or sexism. If you were to comment on someone in an article or because they've been appointed somewhere, if you were to comment negatively about the fact that their race was an issue or that their gender was an issue, there would be backlash. You cannot, in our society, be racist. You cannot be a sexist, which is a good thing. I don't think people should be racist or sexist, but for some reason, being ageist is okay. Discriminating against people because of their age, I don't think it's okay. It's not okay. It affects people's mental health. But sadly, we are usually guilty of, I guess, thinking that we're not worthy because we're older. That's not true. Sad to say that a lot of older people do feel that way and get into a bit of depression, and it's not true. We are perfect the way we are. We have a wealth of knowledge and experience. We've lived through so much. Now, in Canada, half of the workers that are over the age of 60 have to work. So their retirement is spent working. For half of Canadians, this is reality. No choice. Our economy is such that, there's no choice. You've got to work. And this is why it is so tough to know that employers discriminate. Employers do discriminate. I'm talking to you employers, you do discriminate. There's fewer promotions for people over 60. There are fewer training activities involved. There's fewer raises. There's lots of things that it's just not right. And what is even worse is in job applications. There's fewer people that are being called back. In fact, if there's a stack of resumes and they are being reviewed, the older people who've applied are being put aside. Now, sometimes it's in the way we have written the resume, and sometimes it's the way we put dates. We've got to be careful of this and aware of this, because they are judging us and they do not want you if you're older. Simple, plain fact. They cannot be racist. They cannot be sexist. But ageist. Now, as I did explain, there is discrimination not only in the workplace and in job applications, but in the housing market, in the medical field, socially. There are many forms of ageism. But getting back to the job application, I just have to share the story. I just love to share stories that are relevant. I have a friend whose husband was an executive for many years, and he himself decided he wanted to step away. And he, through a friend, was driving cars for a dealership, to and from different dealerships, and two clients who purchased these vehicles. He enjoyed it. He loved the freedom of being on the road. He loved driving. When that dealership moved, he saw an ad for a part-time bus driver for the city. He applied for that job. I mean, he's got the experience driving now. He's mature. He knows how to speak with people. Well, he got an interview quite quickly. And it was a phone interview. And the first question asked of him, what year did you graduate high school in? Now, that if that isn't asking you your age, what is? I mean, sure, you could be off a year or two because maybe you were ahead, maybe you were behind, but you have a general idea of how old someone is when you ask them what year they graduated in. Not allowed. In Canada, you are not allowed to ask those questions. Remember, I told you about the Federal Human Rights Commission and the provincial human rights tribunals, and important to know these. If I may, I want to get back to Miss Louise Arbour, because definitely this is important. Well, let me tell you that she's had decades of experience as a Supreme Court Justice. She was in the UN Human Rights Commission. She was a commissioner in the UN. Internationally, she prosecuted war criminals. So, she's international, she's traveled, she knows a thing or two. Impressive resume. Do you need that type of resume to be a Governor General? I don't know. But she does have an impressive resume. But what really bothered me was the comments that I had seen on social media about Miss Arbour. Many comments acknowledged her experience and wealth of knowledge, which is wonderful. There were other comments that didn't apply directly to her age. But, I'm just going to mention them because I think it's important that you know that I did look at these. It's not like I just made things up. A lot of comments talked about, is the Governor General role necessary in Canada? Is there connection with the monarchy necessary? It's not for me to judge. I'm not here to talk about that. But that was in there. Another position or another point of view. Why are they not putting people from Western Canada as Governor General? Again, interesting point of view, interesting perspective. That goes along perhaps with, why does the Governor General have to be bilingual when their main role is to be the liaison between the monarchy in Canada? And the monarchy obviously is English. All I can say is that history has shown that the Governor General has always been bilingual, save the current one. And Miss Arbour is bilingual. But I must share with you the incredible comments that you would not see if we're talking about someone of color, or we won't be pulling apart her gender. But certainly, why not attack her age? I've heard many comments just said, too old, too old. Then I've seen some, good decision, but isn't she in her 80s? And then it makes me think of when you're 5.5, going to be 6, and you're so excited. I'm 5.5. She's 79. Give it a rest. And then 79 is too old for a 5-year term. In your opinion, perhaps. But everyone is different. And if Miss Arbor feels that she's perfectly fine with a 5-year term, I'm sure she's considered it. Power to her. This one really annoyed me because it goes along with the what I talked about, jobs and resumes and so forth. Another job given to someone who should be retired. Another job given to someone who should be retired. Does that mean that really, because she's too old, she's useless? Not true. Extensive travel, public appearances. Is that appropriate for someone entering their 80s? That's for her to decide. You were not offered the job. She was. She's made the decision. This one made me laugh. She is old enough to be many Canadians' grandma that are over 40. So Canadians over 40. I mean, that's ridiculous. Who cares who her grandchildren may or may not be? I don't care. That's irrelevant to this position. She was chosen. She certainly is more than capable based on her experience. And yes, she is bilingual. Ageism is out there. I don't appreciate ageism. Neither should you. Thank you for watching. Please don't hesitate to comment. Let me know about your ageism issues. And if you have any other ideas or topics that you'd like us to discuss, please do share the video and subscribe. Thank you.